All right, hey everybody, it's Josh the Merc Raynor here, and I am here with a special video. I'm going to be breaking down the Oscar nominations that just dropped earlier today, and kind of giving my thoughts on it and all that stuff. Some of you out there may have seen my post on Twitter earlier about a live stream. I was going to do this. I was going to do this live on YouTube. I had some technical issues. Unfortunately, I was not able to do that, but I still wanted to get this video out and kind of give my thoughts and everything and share it with all of you guys. So the Oscars are taking place on February 9th on that Sunday at 8 o'clock on ABC. So be sure to check that out. So I'm going to get in. We're going to talk about all 24 categories, all the nominations. Some of them I'm not going to have that much to say about. Particularly like some of the short film stuff, because a lot of times you don't get to see a lot of those. And I haven't seen, I think, only one out of all of the, I think, 15 short films. I think I've only seen one. Hopefully, before the Oscars come around, I'll be able to find a few more of these short films and some of the documentaries and stuff like that, and actually be able to check all them out. All right, so we are going to just kind of jump into it. I'm going to go in the order that they were announced on the broadcast this morning. So we're just going to kind of go from there. Okay, so first up is supporting actress. We've got Kathy Bates for Richard Jewell. We've got Laura Dern for Marriage Story. Scarlett Johansson for Jojo Rabbit. Florence Pugh for Little Women. And Margot Robbie for Bombshell. Now, out of these five, it's a solid list. You've got some great actresses, some great movies. I have not seen Richard Jewell or Jojo Rabbit. Yeah, Jojo Rabbit is one that I really want to see, but I unfortunately missed it in the theaters. So that's one I'm definitely going to check out. But of the other three, you got Laura Dern from Marriage Story, like I said, Florence Pugh, Little Women, Margot Robbie, Bombshell. I loved all three of these actresses in their films. But of the ones that I have seen, I would have to go with Florence Pugh. She has had a stellar year. She had Fighting with My Family, Midsummer, and then Little Women, and she knocked it out of the park in all three of these movies. It was fantastic, and I thought that she was phenomenal in Little Women. Saoirse Ronan was amazing as well, but I was just surprised by how well and just how much she stole all her scenes that she was in, that Florence Pugh was in. Every chance you saw her, she was the one that she was stealing all those scenes, and I would personally give it to Florence. Next up is costume design. So we have The Irishman, Jojo Rabbit, Joker, Little Women, and Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. As I said, I have not seen Jojo Rabbit yet, nor have I seen The Irishman. Those are the two, since they're the only two that I'm going to kind of spoil a little bit here. They're the only two that are in the Best Picture category that I have not seen yet. So I will be seeing them before Oscars come around. So of those other three, costume design, I love Joker. But I don't know if I would give it to the costume design to them or not. There was some good stuff in there, but for me, I think it comes down to Little Women and Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Both of these period pieces. Little Women just had some phenomenal costuming going on. Just big flowy dresses down to kind of like peasant-y kind of looking drab clothing. And then Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, you had the 60s era clothes, you had the like 50s kind of era clothes, you had the Western stuff, you had all kinds of stuff going on in that movie. I literally just watched that movie last night to finish off my Quentin Tarantino directorial watch through, so it's kind of fresh in my mind. But yeah, I think it's honestly, to me, it's between the two of them. And the one that stands out to me the most is Little Women. So I would give it personally to Little Women for costume design. Next up, the next two are categories that I've always had kind of an issue nailing these ones down when I'm kind of giving my predictions, and that's the sound mixing and sound editing. I'm not the most clear on the differences. I know that there is. and I'm sure somebody could sit me down and really describe the differences and help point them out, but no one ever has. So unfortunately, that's just the way it is. But so for sound mixing, we've got Ad Astra, Ford v Ferrari, Joker, 1917, and Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. I have seen all of these films. There's some great films in here. Most of them are in my top 5 to top 10. Ad Astra I thought was okay. Maybe I need to see it again. I don't know. So some people rave about it. Some people say it was terrible. I was kind of just in the middle on it. I don't know. Maybe it was late when I went and saw it. I was a little tired. So I probably should give it another watch to see how I feel about it. But that one definitely, I mean, yeah, sure. The sound in it's good. Like again, I'm bad at this stuff, so for this one personally, with the little bit of knowledge on it that I have, I went with 1917. That movie is phenomenal. It is, of these 5 films, it is my favorite of the 5. It's my number 2 of the year. It is so fantastic. And every single thing about it is amazing. So honestly, I have to give an award like this to them because, again, maybe maybe it's because I don't 100% understand it, but that's who I'm going with. And the same for sound editing. The nominees for sound editing are Ford v Ferrari, Joker, 1917, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, and Star Wars: The Rise of Skywalker. Now, a small part of me wants to say, yeah, give it to Star Wars, because I think it's like one of the only. I think there's maybe 2 or 3 categories that Star Wars got nominated for. So it's like, yeah, I want Star Wars to, because I loved Rise of Skywalker. I know some people out there are probably gonna lambaste me on the internet for saying that, but I personally I loved it. And so I'd love to see it get, a win, but if it doesn't, it is what it is. But again, I'm just going to go with 1917 just because of how amazing that film is. And I mean, the sound in it is fantastic. So I'm hoping that, that's what I'm going with. Whether or not it gets it, I don't know. But I'm kind of hoping it does. So next up is original score. And we've got Joker, Little Women, Marriage Story, 1917, and Star Wars: The Rise of Skywalker. Now, for these ones, Little Women, Marriage Story, and 1917. Like, again, I love 1917. And the score is great. However, I personally liked the Rise of Skywalker and Joker scores far better. John Williams is a master. But Hildur, and I'm not even trying to say her last name, the composer on Joker, she knocked it out of the park with this score. It is by far the best score of the year to me. So hands down, I'm giving this one to Joker. All right, so now we're going to get into some of the ones that I'm less familiar with. So we're going to start off with animated short. And we have DeSera, a.k.a. Daughter, Hair Love, Kit Bull, Memorable, and Sister. Now, of these, I've only seen one, and that's Hair Love. And I'm sure most people have probably seen that one because I believe it was on Angry Birds 2. And I saw that. I have a 4-year-old, so I go and see all these animated movies. So Hair Love is fantastic. It got me emotional before the movie even started. This 5-minute short film, it hit me in a way because, again, I'm a father of a young girl, and it just hit me in just the right way, and I got really emotional in the theater right before friggin' the Angry Birds movie 2 started. So I don't know if another animated short film could top that. Maybe it could, but obviously I have to go with Hair Love because it's the one that I've seen. But it is not just because it's the one that I've seen. It's because of how visceral of a reaction I had to it. If I had watched it and was like, oh, that was pretty good, I probably wouldn't be saying this. But I don't know if I could see another one having that kind of impact on me. So I definitely think Hair Love is going to be the one. The next category is live action short. I'm going to preface this by saying I have not seen any of these live action short films, so I have no idea which one is going to win. But it's Brotherhood, Nefta Football Club, The Neighbor's Window, Sierra, and A Sister. Now, there's a difference. You have the animated film Sister and the live action short film A Sister. So there is a difference. Again, I haven't seen any of these, so I have no idea which one would win. Hop on Twitter, let me know, at MovieBlogMerc. If you guys have seen any of these films, let me know. You know, let me know if you know where I can find some of them. If you have recommendations from this list, I'd love to hear a bit more about these. All right, so next up is supporting actor. We've got Tom Hanks for A Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood, Anthony Hopkins for The Two Popes, Al Pacino for The Irishman, Joe Pesci for The Irishman, and Brad Pitt for Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Now, I have not seen The Two Popes. I'm sure Anthony Hopkins did a fantastic job in it. Tom Hanks, he's great in Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood. The movie wasn't quite what I was expecting. I was hoping for more. The fact that Mr. Rogers is a supporting character in the movie about him, that says a lot. And I personally think that having two people from The Irishman, having both Pacino and Pesci in there, I have a feeling it's going to split the vote. Now, I understand, some people are going to be voting specifically for the person, but I don't know how. Like, again, I'm not a voting member or anything like that, but I have a feeling that you probably get a lot of people who vote for the movie, not just for the actor. And so I have a feeling that we may get a split vote on that, and it may cause somebody else to win. And that person who I personally think is going to win is Brad Pitt for Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. He's fantastic in this movie. It's not the best movie of the year by any stretch. It's not even in my top 10. It's a good movie. It's a solid Tarantino flick, but it just didn't quite get there all the way for me. However, the performances in this movie are top notch, and Brad Pitt did a stellar job in this, and that's who I had. That's who's my pick going home with supporting actor this year. So next up, we've got documentary feature. Now, I've seen a handful of documentaries this year. Unfortunately, none of them are on this list. So real quick, some of the ones that I have seen, I saw the two Firefest docs, the one on Netflix and the one on Hulu. I saw Never Surrender, the Galaxy Quest documentary that Screen Junkies put out, which is phenomenal. It's absolutely phenomenal. And I watched QT8, the Quentin Tarantino. It's Quentin Tarantino, the first 8. It's a documentary about his first 8 films. It was kind of leading up into Once Upon a Time. I just watched that one the other day, and it is. If you are a Tarantino fan, hell, if you are a film fan, it's a fantastic documentary. You should definitely check that one out. It's called QT8, Quentin Tarantino, the first 8. But as far as the nominees for documentary feature, we've got American Factory, The Cave, The Edge of Democracy, For Sama, and Honeyland. Again, I have not seen any of these, so I'm not 100% sure which way it's going to go. I haven't really even heard much of anything, no buzz or anything. Maybe I'm just not looking in the right place, but I haven't really heard much of anything about these specific films. So, again, hop on Twitter at MovieBlogMerc. If you've seen any of these films, tell me what your thoughts are. If you know where I can find some of them, let me know. Hit me up there, and I'll check these films out. Next up is documentary short. Same situation. Have not seen any of these. So we've got In the Absence, Learning to Skateboard in a War Zone If You're a Girl, which I gotta say, it's a fantastic sounding title, and I really want to check it out just because of the title. Life Overtakes Me, St. Louis Superman, another one that sounds interesting, and Walk, Run, Cha-Cha. I haven't heard anything about any of these, so again, let me know where I can find them, and let me know your thoughts on these documentary short films. All right, so we've got international feature film, which used to be called best foreign film. I guess they decided to change the name of the category this year. I'm not 100% sure why, but hey, it is what it is. They chose to change it, whatever. So we've got Corpus Christi from Poland, Honeyland from North Macedonia, Les Miserables from France, Pain and Glory from Spain, and Parasite from South Korea. And to me, this is hands down Parasite. Parasite is my number 3 film of the year. It is another little spoiler here. It is a Best Picture nom. So if Parasite does not win, I always say this. If you have a movie that's in one category, and then it's also in the Best Picture category, like so you have like a Best Animated Film, you have a Best Foreign Film, or right now International Feature Film, and that one film is also in the Best Picture nom, if it doesn't win the other category, then it doesn't seem accurate at all. Because if it's of these 5 films, Parasite is the only one nominated for Best Picture. So of all of the films, not just foreign, of all of them, Parasite is the one that is the Best Picture. So, or that is in that race, which means, or at least should mean, that it is the best international feature film. And that's who I'm going with. Simple as that. It's kind of like Roma last year. It was in the Best Picture run, and it won the Best Foreign Film because of that. All right, next up is production design. So we've got The Irishman, Jojo Rabbit, 1917, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, and Parasite. There's some great production design stuff going on here. 1917 is phenomenal. Everything that they had to do for that, it blows me away. Another runner-up, I think, could be Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. There's some great set pieces and stuff like that going on in there. But really, I think I got to give it to 1917. It's such a beautiful film. Everything that they had to do to make it this big, long, essentially a one shot, one tracking shot kind of a thing. They had, the production on this movie. If you guys have not seen it, see it. And honestly, see it in as big of a screen as you possibly can. Whether it be IMAX or like a real RPX. Whatever you got to do, definitely see it like that. Next up is film editing. So we've got Ford v Ferrari, The Irishman, Jojo Rabbit, Joker, and Parasite. Now, I saw some stuff on Twitter earlier today after these came out. Kind of a fight, a film Twitter fight, I guess you could say, about 1917 not getting the nomination here. And some people were like, there's really no editing going on in here. They have to set up the shots to make them seamless. And I'm like, okay, so there's not a lot of editing, sure, but there is editing, and it has to be edited in a way to make, because the film isn't literally it's not like they just put the camera on and just never shut it off and just did this whole movie in one take. That's not how it works. They have scenes, and they have to piece them together and make it look seamless. And that's editing. Now maybe there's not 500 edits in this movie. Maybe there's only, a couple dozen edits or something like that in the movie. You know what I mean? But that shouldn't take away from a nomination for a film like this. I don't know. Now, yeah, I haven't seen The Irishman or Jojo Rabbit yet, so maybe they're far superior than 1917. in editing wise. Maybe. I don't know. But I find it hard to believe that you can make a good case for 1917 not being on this list. I don't know. But out of these 5 films, honestly, I think I would pick Ford v Ferrari. There's some fantastic stuff going on in that movie with the race scenes and the way, I think the way it's edited together. It's a fairly long movie, and I never once felt bored. Even in the slower parts, I was intrigued, and the way the racing is edited together, I don't know, I loved it personally. And I think that's, if 1917 isn't on this list, I think Ford v Ferrari is the one that should take it. Next up, we have cinematography. So we've got The Irishman, Joker, The Lighthouse, 1917, and Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. I haven't seen The Lighthouse, and you guys know I haven't seen The Irishman yet, and The Lighthouse looks cool. It's black and white. It's got Willem Dafoe. Awesome. But if you guys have seen 1917, then this should not be a question. Roger Deakins, he did an amazing job with Blade Runner 2049, and it earned him the Oscar. And if he does not win his second Oscar for 1917, then it is a travesty. This movie is the most beautifully shot movie of this entire year. There is, hands down, nothing that looks better. Just the way everything is done, the way they move the camera, the way he gets these, this movie blew me away. And I may be kind of praising 1917 quite a bit here, but it deserves it. So yeah, for best cinematography, 1917 is the one that I absolutely 100% think deserves this award. So next up is visual effects. We've got Avengers Endgame, The Irishman, The Lion King, 1917, and Star Wars The Rise of Skywalker. Now, again, I have not seen The Irishman. However, all I've heard from people is how the de-aging effects just didn't quite work. And that's a visual effect, so I do not understand why this is in here. Is it just because they tried, just because Scorsese went and tried this technology and used it and to do all this de-aging stuff? I don't think that's worthy. And I think it's kind of BS that there might be a better movie out there that could have gotten in here, but they just gave it. I feel like it was just kind of given to The Irishman. From the way everybody has talked about it, that's like the one thing really that I hear complaints about is the visual effects. So, I mean, I don't know why. Endgame, fantastic stuff going on in there. The Lion King, that was some stellar visual effects. 1917, I mean, it's a great war film. It's got some great stuff going on, and Star Wars, The Rise of Skywalker as well. Honestly, of all of these, strictly for visual effects, I think I would go with Lion King. It may seem weird, but it looked like real animals, and it's not like a lot of people wanted these realistic looking animals to have more animated features, like in the original animated film. But that's not what they were going for. That wasn't the point. And maybe it took away some of the emotion, and that's fine. And I'm not judging the movie here as a whole. Right now, I'm just looking at the visual effects, and I think that they knocked it out of the park with the visual effects in The Lion King. And I think that one should get it. Next up is makeup and hairstyling. Now, with this one, I am pretty sure, I'd have to go back and check, but I'm almost positive that, at least for the last several years, this has been 3 nominees in this category, because I always remember wondering, why do they only do 3 nominees in this category? But this year, there's 5. I don't know if there was some sort of revamp. I mean, we saw earlier, they changed the name of the best foreign film category. So I'm wondering if maybe they decided we got to do 5. Keep everything the same, uniform, all that stuff. So the nominees for best makeup and hairstyling are Bombshell, Joker, Judy, Maleficent, Mistress of Evil, and 1917. I haven't seen Maleficent or Judy, but and Joker's fantastic. Obviously, so is 1917. But after I saw Bombshell, I said to myself, this has to win for best makeup. Seeing Charlize Theron and Nicole Kidman and John Lithgow in this movie, and there's others as well, but those 3, the makeup, especially Charlize, it's incredible. They transformed these actors into these people, and I was blown away by it personally. And so definitely I think Bombshell is the one that should take it. All right, next up is Best Animated Feature. We've got How to Train Your Dragon: The Hidden World, I Lost My Body, Klaus, Missing Link, and Toy Story 4. Now, I haven't seen I Lost My Body, and I love Klaus. That's a fantastic film. I love Toy Story 4. But Missing Link, when it won the Golden Globe, I was shocked. I was like, what? It's not even in the top 5 animated films of the year for me. There are 6 animated films above it, and I haven't even seen I Lost My Body. So there could, theoretically be 7 animated films that I thought were better than Missing Link. Now, don't get me wrong, I love Laika. Laika is a fantastic studio. You got Paranorman, Coraline, Kubo and Two Strings, some amazing, amazing films. But I like Missing Link. I've seen it a couple of times now. It's not a bad film or anything like that. It's just, I don't think it's up there. I think Abominable was better than that one. And I'm sure some people will disagree. But I loved Abominable. I thought it had a great emotionality to it. But yeah, I loved that one. However, my choice for Best Animated Feature is my favorite movie of the year. My number 1 pick of the year, and that's How to Train Your Dragon: The Hidden World. This movie is fantastic. It is the best of that trilogy. This whole series has become one of my favorite trilogies in all of film. It's probably in my top 3 at least of film trilogies, and it's one of my favorite animated films of all time. Now, I don't know, it hit me in just the right way, I guess, but it came out in February. It was my number 1 in February, and nothing was able to top it. 1917 came very, 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 very close, really close to topping How to Train Your Dragon: The Hidden World, but it stayed in there, and it's still my number 1 of the year. All right, next up is Original Song. So we've got I Can't Let You Throw Yourself Away from Toy Story 4. I'm Gonna Love Me Again from Rocket Man. I'm Standing With You from Breakthrough. Into the Unknown from Frozen 2. And Stand Up from Harriet. Some of the, honestly, of these 5, I've only seen Toy Story 4 and Frozen 2. I'm gonna watch Rocket Man. I have it now. I just bought it the other day, so I'm gonna be watching that one soon. And Breakthrough, honestly, I'm not even sure what Breakthrough is, to be totally honest with you. And I haven't had a chance to see Harriet yet. It didn't actually come out in my area, so I didn't get a chance to see that one. But of the others, Into the Unknown. I mean, whether it should win or not, I have a feeling it is going to win. It's a great song, absolutely, but I don't know really the other three. And I do think it's better than the one in Toy Story. And so, yeah, I'm giving it to Frozen, to Into the Unknown from Frozen 2, just because I've been hearing a lot of buzz about this film specifically, about this song, I should say specifically. And so I really think that this is the one that it's going to happen with. All right. So next up, we've got animated screenplay. And so we've got The Irishman, Jojo Rabbit, Joker, Little Women, and The Two Popes. Of this one, I have only seen two, Joker and Little Women. I'm pretty sure The Two Popes is a Netflix film, and obviously so is The Irishman, so I'll have to definitely be checking those ones out soon. Jojo Rabbit, I don't know if it's out on video yet, but if it is, I'll be checking that one out soon as well. Of these two, personally, I think I would go with Joker, mainly just because it's because I like the film better. However, Little Women was fantastic. It had a great flow to it, especially compared to the one, was it like from the 90s or whatever, which was a straight linear story. This one, I loved how it went back and forth through time. It was very non-sequential like that. So honestly, now that I sit here and kind of talk about it, I might give it to Little Women of these two. They did a great job kind of getting this story out to a more modern audience like that, and not making it feel stale or drag on, and really just, I don't know. I think I literally just sat here and changed my own mind. I think I'd give it to Little Women. All right, so we got Best Original Screenplay. We got Knives Out, Marriage Story, 1917, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, and Parasite. Now, I have seen all three of these. So amazing, amazing films. Most of them, so three of them are in my top 10. Knives Out is in my top 15. Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, probably in my top 20. So, all fantastic films. But Best Original Screenplay, I'm kind of torn between. Oh man, there's some such good movies. But honestly, I think I would have to go with Parasite. I went into that movie knowing absolutely nothing about it. Literally nothing. I knew the name. I knew that it was a foreign film, so I knew I was going to have to read subtitles, so I was prepared for that. And I knew that people were saying that it was a great movie. That's it. I knew nothing about the plot. I didn't even know what the genre was. I sat down, I'm like, am I walking into a horror movie? Am I walking into a drama, a comedy? I have no idea. And I was floored by what I saw. So, and that a lot of that has to do with the screenplay, from the way it was written. I think it was very, very smartly written. And I honestly, I think I have a feeling it's going to be Parasite. Whether I'm right, I don't know, because I'm not, like I said, I'm not an Academy voter. I probably don't think the same way that they do. So who knows how they are going to go? But Parasite is the one that I would go with. Next up is leading actor. So we've got Antonio Banderas for Pain and Glory, Leonardo DiCaprio for Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, Adam Driver for Marriage Story, Joaquin Phoenix for Joker, and Jonathan Pryce for The Two Popes. So I have not seen Pain and Glory or The Two Popes, but honestly, I haven't been hearing anything about Jonathan Pryce in this movie. So I really don't think it's going to be him. I've heard a little bit of buzz about Antonio Banderas, but really not much. And Leonardo DiCaprio is really good in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, but I don't think he's the one walking home with it. For me, I think it's between Adam Driver and Joaquin Phoenix. These are the two that, in my opinion, knocked it out of the park. And Joaquin has been getting so much love for his role. I mean, he's won already a few awards at least. Been nominated for some others. I know he won the Golden Globe, and I'm pretty sure there was at least another one in there. So I'm going to give this one to Joaquin Phoenix. I think Joaquin Phoenix for Joker is going to walk away with the leading actor Oscar this year. Next up is the leading actress Oscar. The nominees are Cynthia Erivo for Harriet, Scarlett Johansson for Marriage Story, Saoirse Ronan for Little Women, Charlize Theron for Bombshell, and Renee Zellweger for Judy. I haven't seen Harriet or Judy, so I can't judge either of those performances. I love, however, that Scarlett Johansson is getting a nomination for both leading and supporting. I think that's fascinating. If she could theoretically win both, that would be kind of neat. Whether she deserves to or not is another story. She was fantastic in Marriage Story. It's one of the best performances I think I've seen from her in a while. And Charlize Theron kills it in Bombshell. But I think I have to give it to Saoirse Ronan. Her performance in Little Women, she embodied this character and gave it so much new life that it really stuck with me. How good all of the performers. That's why I said Florence Pugh for supporting earlier. I really think Saoirse Ronan is going to be the one to walk away with this. It's fantastic. I think it's going to be a good night for Little Women when it comes to the acting. All right, next up is the directing, best director, and that is, so we got The Irishman, Joker, 1917, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, and Parasite. Some great films. Got Martin Scorsese on The Irishman. You've got Todd Phillips for The Joker, Sam Mendes for 1917, Quentin Tarantino for Once Upon a Time, and Bong Joon-ho for Parasite. But of all of these, I think I got to give it to Sam Mendes for 1917. What it took to put together this film, he worked some magic here. I couldn't believe how well this movie was put together and done. How amazingly directed it is. I hands down, I love some of these other movies, but I can't see. I just cannot see another film walking away with it. One thing I do want to talk about real quick. There's no females in the directing category. And then there's some fantastically directed films. Booksmart, Little Women. And I know there's others, and I'm gonna forget what they are. But I mean, just right there's two fantastic films. I haven't seen The Irishman, so I don't know how well directed it actually is. I can't sit here and bash it because I have no idea. And I love Quentin Tarantino, but to be honest, I would put Little Women in here over Once Upon a Time. I would put Greta Gerwig over Quentin Tarantino in this list. I don't know what happened. I don't know why. I know they got some weird formula, but personally, I would have put Greta Gerwig over Quentin here, and maybe even Martin Scorsese. I don't know. Again, I haven't watched the movie. And real quick, going back to lead actor, seeing Adam Sandler snubbed for the leading actor Oscar, I'm like, okay, maybe this Jonathan Pryce did great in Two Popes, but I haven't heard any freaking buzz about this dude. And I loved Leonardo DiCaprio in Once Upon a Time, but Adam Sandler, he did something so amazingly special in Uncut Gems. And the fact that Uncut Gems has gotten absolutely no love, nothing, not a single nomination here, is a travesty. That film was fantastic. One of the best performances I've seen out of Adam Sandler in a very long time. And it is a shame that he did not get any sort of recognition at all for it. All right, so we are getting into the final category, the big mama jamma of it, Best Picture. And this year we've got 9 nominees out of the possible. They could do 10. Again, they have some weird formula that they do. I wish that they would just do 10. Like, I don't know. I really wish they would just do 10. They do 5 for everything else. I wish that they would just do 10 for this. I'm sure that they could figure out their formula and make sure that 10 got in there, but whatever. So, the 9 for this year's Best Picture are Ford v. Ferrari, The Irishman, Jojo Rabbit, Joker, Little Women, Marriage Story, 1917, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, and Parasite. Now, again, I have not seen Jojo Rabbit or The Irishman. I will see them before February 9th. Obviously, I'll make sure that I see those. And several of these are in my top 10. Ford v. Ferrari's in there, Joker, Marriage Story, 1917, and Parasite. So 5 of them are in my top 10 of the year. But the one that is up at the top, the one that I think is the best of this list and my second favorite film of the year is 1917. This film is, and I do not use this movie, I do not use this term lightly. I rarely use this term. 1917 is a masterpiece. The fact that I'm even sitting here saying that says something, at least to me, and to those of you who know me well enough. I almost never use that term. I'm not a big fan of it because film is so subjective, but everything that's done in this movie, oh man, if you haven't seen it, you need to see it. 1917 is such a great movie. It is a beautifully masterful, just accomplishment in the world of cinema and the art of cinema and filmmaking. And Sam Mendes, Roger Deakins together, they made an amazing film. Now, yes, for me, How to Train Your Dragon is my favorite film of the year. But if I'm talking best film, which is different to me than my favorite film, 1917 is the best film of the year, hands down. So it definitely deserves Best Picture of the Year. And that's it, folks. All 24 categories for this year's Oscars. Be sure to hop on Twitter at @MovieBlogMerc. Just let me know all your thoughts. I'd love to hear it. You can hop on Facebook and YouTube at Merc with Movie Blog. And also, I'm on Instagram. I don't do a whole lot, but I'm on there as well at Movie Blog Merc. Be sure to let me know your thoughts. What are your picks? And be sure to check out the Oscars. Sunday, February 9th, 8 o'clock Eastern Time on ABC. It's going to be a hell of a night. I love watching the Oscars, even if sometimes it gets a little boring. I still love watching it because I love film and I love celebrating film. So to me, it's a great experience. So thank you, everybody, for joining me today during this video. I'm hoping to start doing more videos like this and get myself out there a bit more. I'm so much more comfortable just doing audio, but I'm really trying to get myself out there and bring some more content to all you great folks out there and everybody who has kind of been with me on this incredible journey with Merc with the Movie Blog. So thank you again, and catch you next time.